The weekend that we just had, trying to figure out the right words, it's not funny anymore, guys. If it ever was, and it was never funny to many of us, if it ever was, this Trump cult is not funny anymore. They are motivated. Tens of millions of them still want Trump again. They are willing to travel. They are willing to pay just to hear from the guy. He is increasingly the dangerous cult leader. They are increasingly the dangerous cultists. I just finished reading Jeff Gwynn's great book about Charles Manson. And when I read about the followers of Manson and what they were willing to do, in their case, they were willing to kill. It's hard not to think about Trump cultists. And the danger of this group of people cannot be overstated. There was a rally in Michigan over the weekend. We're going to look at what Trump said. We're going to look at what the speaker said. We're going to look at what the attendees said. And one of the things that is concerning is the Trumpists who now come across my streams of these events. They are angrier than ever. They used to ignore my coverage of these rallies before. Now, dozens and dozens of them will email me furious. Maybe it's because they are angry that he lost and he's no longer president. Maybe it's because they are emboldened. Maybe it's because they don't like that Trump is making no sense whatsoever at these rallies. But for whatever reason, they are very, very triggered by our coverage of these rallies. Let's start with the things that Donald Trump said yesterday. It was a very glitchy night. There were like 5 or 6 of those weird glitch twitch issues. I'm not going to play all of them. Here's one where I guess he was trying to talk about Zuckerberg drop boxes and he just glitched and it was very strange.
The elimination of Zuckerberg drop box. I call them the unlock boxes, you know.
And it's always that shoulder glitch right when he makes a mistake. It's not clear what it is. We don't know. Is it neurological? Is it psychological? We don't know. There were half a dozen of them yesterday. I won't bore you with more of them. We're used to it up until this point in time. I made a good faith effort to find anything that Trump said that was true. And here's the best I came up with. Trump said at one point during the rally, in Russia, there is such a rigged press that some Russians don't even really understand the nature of the war that is going on. That was true. Everything else he said was false.
You know, they say that in Russia, the people in Russia don't even know they're having a war because they have a rigged press. We have the same rigged press. Maybe not quite as severe, but it'll be there in the not too distant future.
Now, of course, that last part isn't true, although Trump would love to have a rigged press that only praises him, but that is not true. As crazy as this is going to sound, Donald Trump floated the idea of going back to Afghanistan. He said, "What? We might go back." And the crowd cheered. Guys, I can't do it. I can't do it. It was years of saying he would get us out and he failed to do it. And then Biden got us out. And now Trump is so upset with how Biden got us out that he says maybe we'll go back and get our stuff. And the crowd cheers. We're talking about, in order to do that, you've got to send troops back in. And the crowd cheers. It's beyond belief.
You have many citizens that the Taliban is holding. They didn't get enough with the $85 billion. Maybe we ought to go in and take it back. Dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Go back in?
Finest military equipment in the world they have, them from the goggles to the 700,000 machine guns.
It is incredible. I'm not aware of Trump ever having mentioned Joe Biden's White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, before, but he did at the Saturday rally. And he referred to her as the woman with the really beautiful red hair. He can't talk about anything in a normal way. Here is Trump on Jen Psaki.
And then the woman with the really beautiful red hair, she left. And she was hit so hard by the military because they knew I was right. The military understood I was right. You know, she's going to MSDNC. You know that, right? Right?
It does appear that Jen Psaki is going to be, when she leaves, going to MSNBC. So I guess Trump told 2 truths in his nearly 2-hour speech.
They need a redhead. They don't have a redhead over there, so they need a redhead.
Very slurry, as you can imagine, and the crowd just absolutely loving all of it. Here is another lie that Trump continues to tell. Trump once again claiming that he was the recipient of an award that does not exist.
It get worse. And then I was named a long time ago. I was named, did you know this? A long time, I don't know, your Chamber of Commerce, somebody, who the hell knows what it is. They named me the Man of the Year in Michigan. And I got up and I said, they're stealing your car business. And I was really rebuked. They said, that wasn't a very nice thing to say. I said, but it's...
Now, two things. One, I don't know why Trump was so sweaty throughout the entire event. Many of our viewers were asking that on Saturday night. But that award doesn't exist. The crowd cheers anyway. It doesn't matter whether, if you go, this is the sick reality, guys. Trump's been claiming he got this award, Michigan Man of the Year, for a very long time. There's no evidence that it exists. So it's been researched by multiple media outlets. They tried since 2016. Media outlets have been trying to verify that Trump got this award. There's no evidence he got it. There's no evidence the award exists. If you go to a Trumpist and say, that award doesn't exist, they would come up with something like, well, he should have gotten that award. That award should exist. It should be created. It should be given to Donald Trump. This is how delusional these cultists are. Now, at another point in the rally, Trump made a completely unintelligible rant about, we figured out later he's talking about Jeff Fortenberry, who was convicted of lying to the FBI and concealing information. Criminal, okay? And Trump seemed to sort of be making light of what happened to Jeff Fortenberry, but it didn't make any sense. Listen to this.
$1 million, in a great state, Nebraska, a congressman is being put in jail over a few dollars that he possibly didn't even know anything about. He's going to jail, a few $1,000s, and yet this guy gives $417 million to all these states. The money, it's passed around like pizza at a party, and nothing happens to him. They're putting this congressman, I don't know him well, but he's a congressman, and it was over a very small amount of money. They're going to put him in jail over a number of thousands, like
$20,000. It first was like no money, and then it was thousands, and then it's 20,000s. Jeff Fortenberry was convicted of lying to the FBI, like many Trump associates have done, concealing information in an investigation about illegal contributions made by a foreign national to his reelection campaign. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Sounds very similar to some of the investigations into the people around Trump. Trump then had a sort of dog whistle attack on primarily, but not exclusively, black athletes who have knelt during the national, or is it knelt or kneeled during the national anthem, saying you only kneel, you don't kneel, or wait, listen to it.
And Americans kneel to God and God alone.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, okay, so you guys get the implication. You don't kneel during the anthem, you only kneel to God. My sense is Trump's never been on his knees for Jesus in his life. That's my sense of the guy. And then lastly, Trump starts to do sort of like a impression of how he would do a concession speech, but then he stops for fear that the media will edit it in an unfair way.
Oh, be a lot easier for me to do, like many people have done, get up and just say, congratulations, whoever it is I'm running against. I mean, if you're running, I'd say, congratulations, Joe. Now watch, if I say it, I don't want to say it because they'll put it on like, this is what they do.
Whoa.
Remember the Russia, if you're listening thing? So they cut it off immediately because it was a joke. Russia, if you're listening, to do this or that with her emails or whatever the hell it was. And then I laughed, they laughed, the whole place was left, but they cut it off immediately. It said, Russia, if you're listening, cut.
Nobody cut it off there. That is a lie. Nobody cut it off there. So this is the dangerous cultist. He has followers. He has influence. They're not going away. Let's now look at some of the other people who spoke at the rally. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it, but I know you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.